Hello, and welcome to Connecting Jewish Grandparents, the Grand Plan podcast. I'm thrilled that you're here to join me, where we look at the power of Jewish grandparenting through Jewish lenses. Um, if you've been a long-time listener, thank you for being here. Please rate, review, give me some feedback, and share with other people because we are powerful ourselves, but it's really the collective. The more you reach out and the more you share this work, the more it benefits all of us. All right. I want to talk about something you'd think like, wait, what does that have to do with today? Today that I'm recording is Yom HaZikaron, Memorial Day in Israel. But what I want to talk about is actually Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur? Well, we'll just get started. On Yom Kippur, at the time of the temple and the time of the Mishkan before that, the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, was the one who was facilitating the whole holiest day. And in the process of this day of atonement and power and growth, the high priest changed his clothes 5 times. And it wasn't just like, oh, may switch this shirt and put on that one. He took everything off, immersed in a ritual bath, put on new clothing 5 times. And not because of fashion, but because of role, of purpose, of identity. The same person, but different garments, depending on who he is and what he is doing. So here's the question, which you might have been asking from the beginning. What does this have to do with grandparenting? Well, the question is, what are you wearing as a grandparent? This week we have a double portion, two Torah portions being read, Acharei Mot and Kedoshim. Acharei Mot is where we read about Yom Kippur service in the Mishkan, the first of this most holy day. And in the process, in the service, the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, is moving between being with the people, all of the congregants, all of the Kehillah, and entering the Kodesh HaKadoshim, the Holy of Holies, a place where it is just him and the divine presence. And each time that he makes this transition, he changes what he is wearing. Now, I want to be clear on the contrast. As I said before, he's not just changing shirts. There is one set of clothing that the Kohen Gadol wears that has 8 garments with gold. If you're watching live or on watching video on YouTube, so I have this paper doll of the Kohen Gadol, and he has 8 things that he wears that some of them a regular Kohen would wear, and some things only he wears. We've got the mechnasayim, the kotonet, the me'il, the chosh, then we have the ephod, the apron he wears, and more layers and more layers. And then we have the chosh and mishpat, which might be my favorite. That's the breastplate that he wears with one. It's gold with 12 stones, one for each of the tribes. He's a special gold piece that he wears along his forehead, and on top he wears a mikbad, a special hat. Right. The bottom of the me'il has gold bells and pomegranates that make noise whenever he walks. I could talk about the clothes for a long time, but I'm going to get back to what it is. These 8 layers are worn whenever he is with the people, representing the people, working the people, with the people. It is visible. It is layered. It is communal. The bells that I mentioned, they said that he wore them so people would know when he was coming, that you could hear the Kohen because he was so involved with the people, and the people had to know from a distance, the Kohen Gadol is coming. How do I prepare? So these 8 layers, and when I use it in school as a paper doll, like it takes a long time to weave all of these layers together for a child. Well, it certainly would take a long time for the Kohen Gadol to get dressed in this way because there are layers and wraps. And then, in contrast, there's just the 4 white linen garments. And this is what he wears when he enters the Kodesh HaKadoshim, the Holy of Holies. Simple, stripped down when it's just him and the Almighty. So why? Why the wardrobe change? Right? What's the purpose? Well, there doesn't have to be one. It's what the Torah says. It's what the divine commands. But we have our commentators who give us their opinion. Rashi, the medieval scholar, said that the gold should not, was not allowed to be worn in the Kodesh HaKadoshim because the gold connected back to the golden calf, to the Egel HaZahav. And that is not something that Aaron should be carrying with him, the high priest, that Moshe's brother, should be carrying with him when he stands in that relationship with the Almighty. But Shimshon Raphael Hirsch says the white garments. Shimshon Raphael Hirsch was a commentator not nearly as long ago as Rashi, in the 1800s. And he said that the white garments represent a different piece. That when the Kohen Gadol is alone with God, he's not thinking about the people, and he should not be thinking about the people. He needs to start with himself and focus on his own teshuvah and his own inner work. When he wears all the clothes, he is carrying community. When he is wearing these 4 white linen and wool garments, it's about him and himself and his process and his relationship with the divine. Well, Yom Kippur is one day a year, and none of us are the high priest, even if you might be a Kohen. This is about roles, responsibilities, identity. The same person moves between personal identity and communal responsibility, and mostly knows how to shift between them. But what about the grandparents? As grandparents, we're always showing up, but how? Are we focused on the 8 garments? Are we fully focused on the grandchildren, the family, what they need, what our Jewish family, what our community, what the people beyond us need? Or are we wearing our 8 garments? We are worried about ourselves, our own need, our own identity. But I'm sure you feel a tension in that. Because it should be all about them? Or I don't want to lose myself. I still am a person. I'm not just a grandparent to these little ones. It's not one or the other. It's knowing when to wear which garments. This might feel abstract, but it's not. It's not about the Kohen Gadol and whether or not he's wearing the Choshen Mishpat, the breastplate. It's about you. What shoes are you wearing when you go to see your grandchildren? Can you get on the floor with them? Can you run after a 3-year-old in them? Do your clothes physically represent what you can do to be present with your grandchildren? Okay, but what about your mindset? When you go to be with them, are you there for your grandchildren and your children and your children-in-laws? Or are you bringing a big piece of yourself? When do you step fully into their world? And when do you stay grounded in your own? And one isn't necessarily more right than the other. The question is, when are you which? The Kohen Gadol would move between those roles. How do you do it? Every morning, before we get dressed, We ask ourselves, who do I want to be today? And if you didn't ask yourself that this morning, that's fine. But as you move through the day and in tomorrow, who do I want to be today? What role am I stepping into? What does this moment require? It's never one identity. It's the intentional shifting between them. And you probably have more roles than that just these two identities. If you're still working in a profession, who are you with that hat, or with your community, or with your friends, or as a spouse? How do you shift identity in these roles? I said it's a double parasha. It's Acharei Mot and Kedoshim. Kedoshim has a very different focus, but it includes the phrase, opens with the phrase, Kedoshim tihiyu, you shall be holy. And we've spoken about this holiness before. Holiness is not one fixed space. It is that awareness and that intention and that alignment. So for the Kohen, in his holiness, it was which clothes at which moment. And for you, in the right now, it's knowing how to show up appropriately in each moment. Well, you don't need to wear all 8 garments at the same time. And you don't need to strip everything away either. But you need to be able to ask yourself, what am I wearing right now? And what is it that this moment needs? And I guess a piece of reinsurance, because this isn't an easy dance or balance anytime. But the high priest, there was only one. And Yom Kippur was only one day each year. But if you get it wrong, if you feel like, I haven't been showing up in the right way, and maybe I didn't show up in the right way this morning, there's still this afternoon and tomorrow and the next day. And it's a skill that we work on and fine tune. And so what moments haven't been successful aren't a loss. This isn't a yearly event. It's a daily event. Who do you want to be and how do you want to show up today and tomorrow? Before we close, I want to share something new that feels like aligned, part of the grand plan thing. Each week, I'm writing, I'm podcasting, I'm sharing. If you're not on my email list, by the way, drop me a line and let me know. grandplan.kit.com, reach out to me because I want you to be on that. But what I realized that all of this work about legacy and connection and relationships between grandchildren and grandparents, I realize these are exactly the kind of things that we want to dedicate and honor. So now I'm going to have sponsorships available so that you can take these episodes and dedicate them to a memory or a milestone to one of your loved ones. And it could be a generation back. The Azkara, the Meldado, the memorial for your parents, your grandparents, to celebrate the birthdays and the bar mitzvahs of your grandchildren, and everything in between, smachot, milestones, memorials. It's a way to connect their legacy to something that ripples outwards and onwards. So if that speaks to you, if that resonates with you, find the link in the show notes. I would be honored to carry your dedication in this work. I would love to have you sponsor this learning that happens in the emails and in the podcasts to the whole world. And I guess today's episode is in memory of all that have fallen to build and protect and sustain the state of Israel today on Yom HaZikaron, all of our soldiers and our civilians, all the victims of terror, all the hostages that we lost. In the process of keeping our homeland, today's episode is in your memory as Nilui Neshama. Thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you soon.